It is not hard to imagine that the people aboard the 9/11 airplanes were instantly disembodied as immortal spirits inside the exploding Trade Center. Is it not consistent to believe that there would be a prophetic type occur today, as one like the Son of God would again appear in the flames, just as occurred with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Is it possible that Christ himself was waiting there to take them home? For as disembodied spirits, the fire could no longer burn them, nor consume their immortal souls, as they beheld Christ in their midst on September 11th. It was that same power that brought America together because of this millennial event, paralleling the tree of life and the burning bush.
Behold, I am Jesus Christ, and I come quickly.
You know, I remember that September 11th was a very frightening time for America. I felt like we were losing control and struggling, and we all felt helpless, and yet angry, irritated inside that someone had done this to America. And you know, I felt so sad for the people that died, and so helpless, not knowing what to do. And yet this whole tragedy brought us together as one. And I think the spiritual value of this is that we all did become one for a while. And I think September 12th was really the telling miracle of what happened when America came together.
We hear people trashing this war, and here's convincing evidence that the war is God's will. You know, where are all the national ministers that should be behind this discovery? They got behind Y2K, so where are they now?
When you go through this evidence and confirm the connections, you come away with a lot of confirmation. The biblical evidence just keeps adding and adding until you see the pieces or the puzzle come together by God's design. The details match perfect history being mapped out long ago. There are no unmatching clues. If Saddam Hussein hadn't rebuilt Babylon, there would not have been a modern Babylon type to link all of these connections together with 9/11. Saddam became a modern link to the past and present prophecies, bringing America into prophecy.
We have located all of the clues given to us by Daniel, and they perfectly match 9/11 and the Iraq War. We have located dozens of fulfilled prophecies because every clue found opens up a second clue and a third and a fourth clue, and on until it completes itself within a perfect system in context. This has never happened previously. Date 9/11 was itself a prophetic witness of two ones coming together. The first plane was incredibly Flight 11. It had 2 pilots and 9 flight attendants, equaling 11 crew members. 92 passengers were on Flight 11. 9 plus 2 equals 11. The second plane hit the second tower at exactly 9:02. Again, 9 plus 2 equals 11. Countless people were dialing 9/11 on their cell phones. To a casual observer, the 2 twin towers of the World Trade Center appeared as 2 number 1s, or a huge number 11. The horn on one tower creates a type of Daniel's 11th horn, paralleling the Roman Empire in the 6th century. You have a huge 11, almost 1/2 mile high, in flames in front of the whole world, witnessing this Bible prophecy.
My time is valuable. People can waste a lot of time reading books on Bible fiction. In the year 2000, a lot of top preachers were quoting the Bible to raise fears about Y2K. They made millions of dollars while we went out and bought their books, believing they were real prophecies in our time. Everyone wakes up on New Year's Day and nothing happened. Why do we still buy their books? False prophecies can cause Christians to stop believing in the Bible, and then when something true like this book comes along, people don't want to believe it. This book restored my faith in God and in the Bible in a huge way.
I can't believe this is in the Bible. That means Harry Reid has been lying to us the whole time?
Yep.
Everybody really should read this.
So in other words, the eagle, which is America, is supposed to free Iraq. That's incredible. But it's sitting right here in the Bible.
Hello, my name is David Mortensen. I've been a teacher of the gospel. I have studied the scriptures for many years. What I'm seeing here and what you're seeing with Paul Gregerson's look at these scriptures here, we're seeing the political connection to the prophecies that are mentioned in the Old and New Testament. One of the things I've noticed in the many years that I've studied and taught the gospel is the cyclical nature of prophecy. You may see a prophecy fulfilled that was in the Old Testament, that was fulfilled a few years later, and then decades later you may see the same prophecy fulfilled once again. And even hundreds of years later you see it being fulfilled again on a grander scale. That seems to be the cyclical nature of prophecy. And this is what Paul has found, and this is what he is tying to as he is creating not only just a scriptural cycle, but also a political cycle that ties to these scriptures.
I'm Ross David, and I have no explanation as to why 9/11 is in the Bible. If this discovery is true, it will be the first time anyone ever successfully linked Bible prophecy to our day in a convincing way.
I have to say that my opinion is that any Christian in the world is gonna want this. This is something everyone's looking for. It's gonna fulfill so many prophecies in the scriptures that some prophecies people don't even know about. Like if you think about back on the Da Vinci Code, which was fantasy and fictional, it wasn't real, but it definitely caught people's attention to how things can still be put together in today's times. Well, I'd have to say this is something that's going to be huge. Just looking at it and listening to it, this is something that most people can't even comprehend. I mean, this is bringing the past back into the future.
Have you ever drove in circles for what seemed like hours looking for an address, or failed to have the correct address? Well, that's what Christians feel like, who sincerely want to understand the prophecies and instead get the same runaround by reading each new book claiming new prophetic insights. Myself, I'm so tired of Bible fiction books which sell false hopes that I would never write a book on prophecy unless I could connect all the dots for people who take the time to read my book. Anything less is spiritual deceit and willful deception for personal gain. I will hold myself accountable to my readers by delivering exactly what I promise. Every dot will be connected, and each assertion will have biblical foundation. I will actually show you in the Bible where Saddam Hussein did have direct connections to the terrorists who came into Iraq, and how an evil coalition would cause the towers to fall and bring great slaughter in the month of September on 9/11.
I simply believe that much of the criticism coming from the mainstream media about Iraq and our president are false. They're like a big, huge, dead tree. There's no life, and it cannot bear fruit because the whole thing is nothing but a big lie.
Once again, the media makes a problem this big into a monster this big in order to perpetuate the big lie. Most of the mainstream media are no longer relaying true information to us folks. Most of its commentators are left and far left. You can no longer trust them any more than you can trust the tabloids for getting accurate information about your president or the Iraq war. You will learn that tornadoes and earthquakes and seas heaving beyond their bounds are signs of the second coming of Christ and not global warming. Christ said all these things must come to pass before he can come. He warned us to not let our hearts be troubled because of all these things which must come to pass. Global warming fears are therefore Satan seeking to make us afraid of the end times. Truly, man only thinks he is in control of this earth and forgets that he himself is in God's hands, and the earth itself will pass away. But God's words will not pass away, but all will be fulfilled. The 9/11 prophecies recorded by Daniel demonstrate that God knows the beginning to the end, and the past and the future are as one before the Lord.